the next 5 steps is how you can now start to overcome burnout from where you are right now. Things that you can start to do. So step 1 is recognize and own it. One of the biggest issues with burnout and why we stay in it for so long is because we're almost in denial. We don't want to admit that there's something wrong, or we don't want to change things in our life because it's sometimes easier to stay in that discomfort and in that pain, right? And also sometimes there's a bit of shame in admitting defeat, like I need help. But the reality is like there's no shame in asking for help. If anything, that's the massive sign of strength. And the minute we're able to recognize and own it, then we get to change, right? That's the needle mover. That's the bit that changes the game. So step 1 is, if you recognize burnout in everything I've been talking about today, own it. Literally write it down on paper. I am experiencing burnout right now. I am experiencing this symptom. That's a symptom. I am feeling burned out, right? Just own it. And from there, you can then do step 2, which is to prioritize recovery, right? Now, the duration of burnout recovery varies from person to person. There's a lot of data to support that we don't actually recover from burnout until about 18 months after, right, the onset. So it can be a long path. It can be a shorter path, of course, as well. But your ability to own where you are and then to choose to prioritize it, even if you don't know how you're going to prioritize it yet, just choose that it is going to be a factor that you're going to focus on. That's going to help no end. Step 3 is to communicate your needs. Okay. Now, this could be maybe time that you need. It might be people that you need to speak to. It might be resources that you need. It might be a short break, right? To start the process of your recovery. Communicating what you need to yourself and then to somebody that can support you is going to be extremely powerful. And that might be a partner, that might be a friend, that might be a work colleague, that might be your boss, it might be HR. Communicate your needs as best you possibly can. Step 4 is self-compassion. I mentioned shame and embarrassment and perhaps a negative thought pattern, all right, associated with what you're experiencing. Meeting ourselves with compassion is so important, so powerful, because there's no point you kicking yourself while you are down, right? We do so much better when we are spoken to from a place of love and we are experiencing acts of love, right? But that comes from self, not just things and people around you. So perhaps being a little bit kinder to yourself. Allow yourself the space to prioritize your recovery. Allow yourself a hot soak in the bath and put in something that's pending down for a moment. Sit with your thoughts, sit with your feelings as if they're a small child and ask yourself, what would you say to them? Sometimes it's a really easy way to tap into compassion. Step number 5 is to address the physical health first. Okay, so depending on your symptoms, recommending obviously a doctor, but looking at different lifestyle tweaks that you can make, increasing your water intake, increasing your nutrition, or nutritious foods, movement, getting fresh air, taking moments to breathe. Address your physical health first, because as soon as our energy starts to pick up a little bit and we've got that solid foundation, we can then go and start to unpack those 6 core issues that I mentioned earlier. Now, I'm very aware that that is a lot of information. So just pause for a moment, breathe, take those steps in and just ask yourself, which step are you ready to take? And take it one step at a time. All right. So our team have actually developed a diagnostic scorecard where you can actually see exactly what you need. It will measure how you're doing day to day, how your body is coping, where your stress or burnout is stemming from. And in less than 2 minutes, it will generate a report for you, which will highlight exactly what you're doing well right now, and then actionable tips on how to improve immediately as well. So once your score's been calculated, you'll get that tailored report straight to your inbox, and it's completely free. It's been designed to help, nothing more, nothing less. I remember, when I experienced burnout, I wish I'd had access to a tool like this, because at least I would have had a starting point, right? So that's kind of our gift to you. off the back of staying in this episode for so long. But what's really, really important is that you know that overcoming burnout is a gradual process, but one that feels like a weight's being lifted. Like there's this like mental haze, this fog, it will start to lift. I promise you that. And maybe you're thinking you don't have time for it, but it was Jim Goodwin that once said, if we don't have time, that is the time we need to do it the most, right? That's the time. That is the time. That is the sign. That is the signal. Prioritizing your recovery is going to allow you to start feeling connected to yourself, to those you love again. You'll be able to feel energized and engaged in your life again in the ways that you enjoy. You'll be thinking clearly and able to perform again in the ways that you want to. And you'll have a confidence that you can just step into the world again, right? And you'll know yourself again, and you'll find that zest of life again. All right. So to wrap up, overcoming burnout is about listening to your experience of it, physically, mentally, and emotionally, okay, and seek help when needed, and give those 5 immediate steps a try. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, please be well.
If you enjoyed this episode and you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
Then share it with a friend who you think might benefit.
Spread the word. That's how we're going to impact the world, by helping each other.
We appreciate you so much, and as always, unconditional love and wellness to you.